Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so very excited to have you here. I think this is going to be one of the end-all be-all videos over here. I feel like this is something that everybody always wants to see. This is the book series that everybody always talks about. Everybody always wants to know everybody's opinions on. This is something that I've been asked so many times about what my thoughts were, and I don't have thoughts because I have not read the series. But with us getting into the fall season, I feel like it was time that I finally get around to it. And what series is that, you might be asking? That series is the ACOTAR series. Believe it or not, I have not read these. I've not read a single book off of this. I literally read the first line of the first book last night and I was like, you know what, I'm tired, I'm ready to go to bed, so I didn't read it. But today we are going to be starting, I don't even want to say this behemoth of a series because we all know that the Throne of Glass series, we know that that's the real behemoth of series. So go ahead and just get into it, jump in, get our feet wet. I hear that this is the easiest one to start off with. We are going to start off with the ACOTAR series. We're gonna get into this. I'm gonna let you know all of my thoughts, my opinions, my feelings, everything. I'm gonna let you know the whole nine about what I think of the ACOTAR series. So let's get going. We don't got time to waste. We gotta get into this. Little microscopic update. I'm still literally just in the middle of reading my chapter. I'm on page 143 right now. She just captured something. I can't remember what it's called, but she captured it and was trying to get answers from it. And then this group of like 4 people came and was trying to attack her, kill her, whatever. And then, is it Tamlin? It's Tamlin, so it looks like Tamlin. That's just gonna be what it is for right now. And then if I go in and I correct it, then we'll fix it. But he came in and he tried to save her. Well, he didn't try to save her, he did save her. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I really don't have much to say about it. There's not a bunch of opinions that I have on it so far. I am enjoying it. It's not like I'm reading it and I'm trying to follow along with what's going on. I'm not struggling in the world, I guess. There's a lot of different creatures and what the different creatures do and stuff that I'm not really keen on remembering. So that's gonna be a little bit difficult remembering what things are and what they do. And then also I think names and stuff, with having names that I can't pronounce, that's gonna be really difficult for me to remember. I think right now I know the 2 main guys, and then obviously, is it Farah? Yeah, I think. So that's where we're at right now. So far, I'm enjoying it. So far, I think it's pretty good. I think on my Kindle it says I'm about 30% of the way through. It's not like I'm super far along into it or anything like that, but I would say like for almost halfway, not bad to be, you know, enjoying the story. I'm curious to see where it's gonna go, especially with the whole series, and the series not even finished yet. But I'm excited to see where this is going to take us and not just be in the first book still. That's where we are, that's how far along we are, that's my thoughts and opinions so far. I'm gonna keep reading, see what I think. So I just came inside really quick for a fast update. We just found out that the whole point of capturing Farah, capturing her and bringing her to their land, was not because of any type of treaty or anything like that. Literally was just to break a curse that he has. And look, obviously it's a book, I get it. But like, the fact that everything in this book has happened point blank the way that it needs to happen in order to break the curse, crazy. Okay, that's crazy. Honestly, I would say that's one heck of a coincidence. Right, it kind of reminds me of like Beauty and the Beast. Isn't there some rule he has to get some girl to fall in love with him before the flower petals turn? Obviously that's not as intense, that's not as aggressive as this. Like, I need a human to come and kill a fairy with hate in their heart and then come in and then fall in love with you and then express you love them. Like, the whole not, like, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. But just kind of reading it and watching everything unfold was a little intense. But this being a point blank way to end his cure, didn't expect that. I'm enjoying it. I have like a little bit over 100 pages to go. I'm eager to get deeper into it. I want to see what she finds. What is it, like at the center of the earth, underneath the earth, under the mountain, under the volcano, wherever she's going. I don't remember where she's going right now, but I'm ready to figure out what she's gonna do when she gets there. I'll go back outside now. Thorns and Roses, finished. We're done. We finished her. I say all the time that I don't know what I was expecting with books, but that wasn't what I expected. Just because obviously I don't really pay attention to what the book is about before I start reading it. But this one, I mean, obviously it's a fantasy book. Like, I didn't really know exactly what I was getting into while I was getting into it. But this one, I would say, pretty much kind of falls in line with what I would have expected from it. Honestly, this kind of reminded me of that one book that just came out. It was like Phantasma or Phantasma something. Don't remember what it was, but it was just like this evil game or something like that that came to their city, and they competed in these games trying to win, but I don't necessarily remember what they were trying to win. This is kind of the same thing with the games that she was trying to complete in order to save everybody, not save them, but like free everybody. But I really enjoyed it. I thought this was really good. I enjoyed the budding romance between Feyre and Tamlin. I was also pleasantly surprised that, I'm gonna get this name wrong. I'm so gonna get this name wrong. I call him Rhysand? Because look, whenever I saw that name before, it was like Rice something. But after seeing people spelling Reese like that, I had no idea that that was a thing. So I was like, well, maybe it is Reese, but we'll see. Let's look. Rhysand. Okay. Okay, so I got Alice. That one tripped me up for a little bit. I was saying Elias, and then I figured out that it was a girl, and I was like, well, it's probably Alice then, but yeah, that's embarrassing. So I got her down. Feyre, Lucian. Yeah, that was pretty much what I figured. Rhysand, Tamlin. Okay. I'm not really that worried about the other stuff because it is what it is, but the names I'm gonna actually be talking about those, so I do need to try to get those correct. And also, just with going through the series, I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing them properly in my head, or at least properly enough to where it's not stupid, to where I come back and I'm like, hey, this person, and you're like, what the heck is she even saying? Yeah, I don't want to be like that. I enjoyed the games. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching her do what she needed to do to get Tamlin out of the situation. Well, Tamlin and everybody else, all of them, out of the situation that they were in. I definitely expected there to be something along the lines of her winning the game and then there being some type of loophole that was exploited, so that definitely did not throw me by any surprise. I did see the answer to the riddle coming. Now, did I guess the answer to the riddle? Absolutely not. Would I ever have guessed the answer to the riddle? No. Did I even fully understand it when I went back and looked at it to see if that was something that fit in the place? Not 100%. But that's okay. That's just me not being very good with riddles. Understandable. I didn't expect to be able to get that at all. I took a picture of it thinking that there might be some slim possibility. I say thinking very loosely, but hoping that there would be some slim possibility that I would be able to guess it. Nope. Not even a little bit. Probably wouldn't have been able to guess it even if I wanted to guess it. That is that. I think all in all, I definitely really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed all of the little plot twists with finding out that the treaty was all fake and everything. I thought that was pretty interesting, that wasn't necessarily any, logical thing. It was really just to kind of break this curse that she didn't really know about. And then also I really liked the very ending of this. Once everyone found out that the main lady, I don't remember what the other lady's name was. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna look that one up. But once we found out that she was not really going to stick to the promises she made or whatever deal that they made, once we found that out, seeing how everybody kind of joined together to pretty much get rid of her, and they were like, okay, well, this is how we're gonna kill her, whatever. I don't even know. I don't know. Basically, I really enjoyed the end. I liked finding out that Rhysand was not super into the idea of keeping Feyre captive. He didn't really care about that, and it was more just trying to push this whatever further on down the line. He was basically just using that as a ploy to make Tamlin mad, if I even understood that right. Who knows? I don't know. Look, there was plenty of stuff in this book that I had to read a couple times to make sure that I was fully comprehending. Is anybody surprised by that? Absolutely not. Not even a little bit. On that same note, I did spend I want to say an hour or something yesterday outside reading, and I was like, man, I'm really pushing through this. I'm getting through. I'm doing the thing. I'm reading a bunch. And I got back inside and I didn't even read 10 chapters. I literally did not read 10 chapters. Given one of them was probably like 30 minutes long. It was a really long chapter. Still, that aside, I have now started the second book. What is this one? A Court of Mist and Fury. Actually very interesting. Usually I try to, when I think about it, I try to figure out why the cover is, done the way that it is. I try to see if the cover actually has any relevance to the story that we're reading, and this one, obviously relevance being the wolf that she killed. I don't remember the guy's name, but she shot him with her arrow, so I definitely know the resemblance in the cover, which I didn't expect. I didn't think I was going to be getting down the rabbit hole of, oh, why is the cover the way that it is? Well, now I know. Look at me. I feel smart. But with this one, the cover, what is it? It's just some bird. Obviously, I say obviously, it might not be, to me it feels obvious, but it could be so wrong. The bird, I think they said something about Rhysand having some type of talons for his shifting personality, whatever. So this is probably gonna have something to do with him. Obviously right now he's missing, or at least she hasn't talked to him for a while. I'm definitely not very far into it. I'm chapter 3. So she said she hasn't talked to Rhysand in 3 months-ish. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with their deal that they made, if he's going to follow through with that, and what he's going to do if he does decide to follow through with it, like what the, I guess, not repercussions, but kind of like what they're going to be doing. That's interesting. But then also there's the little ring right here. My guess is is it Julian? My guess is that's his eyeball ring. It's my guess. Again, I'm only 3 chapters in. I could be wrong, but that's my thought. That's my 2 cents. That's what I'm thinking. So far, good. What I really liked, I'll say this and then I'll actually be quiet because I don't want to be talking a ton in this video, which is pretty much all that's going to be, per usual. This one, very pleasantly surprised that this was a complete ending. A lot of thriller books will kind of lean into the next book. We'll kind of see what's going to happen in the next book, but this one actually came with a conclusion. Like, you could literally just stop with this book if you wanted to. You don't have to continue the series, which I always like, because if I don't want to finish it, there is an out. I don't feel like I have to or feel the need to go into the next book just because there's some type of plot twist or ending that I want to see through with the next book. You know, there's no cliffhanger that I'm seeking to find the answer to, right? This one just ended and that's that. You could be done with it if you wanted to. I'm not saying that I wanted to be done with it by any means. I just don't want to be reading a whole massive fantasy series. I would like to break things up. So part of me was like, oh, I could just be done with it. Like, that'd be so nice. But I'm gonna follow through with it. I'm gonna push through, finish it, let you know what I think. Obviously, that's the whole point of the video. But you could just read this one as a standalone if you wanted. The only thing that I don't like about this one so far, again, I'm only 3 chapters in, but the relationship is already developed. So Feyre and Tamlin have already, you know, developed and created their relationship. They're already into each other, whatever. They're planning on getting married right now. But I guess she said that they're not mated. They're not something like that. What was it they're supposed to, he's supposed to find a mate or something like that. There's some magical something that happens where he finds his person that he gets connected with. Don't ask me, I'm not a werewolf. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But essentially that's supposed to be what's happening. He has not done that with her yet, so I think she's kind of worried that that might not be a thing. Maybe he ends up with somebody else, which would be crazy. That would be interesting. And I have thought, what if she ends up not being with him, or he gets, you know, fated to somebody else, and then she ends up with, like, Rhysand. Right, yeah. That's where my head's going right now. But obviously I don't love developed relationships going into part 2. I would rather it just be continuously drawn out, you know, obviously we know me, but it's not the case, which makes me think something might happen to their relationship. Something might kind of go astray. We'll see if that's correct or not. I don't know. I'm not really trying to sit here and make a bunch of predictions just because I don't read fantasy enough to even have any idea of what could happen or the way that the books are set up or anything like that. Not even the slightest clue. I think I've read maybe 1 fantasy book series in my life. So this will be the 2nd one. So I'm not getting into, oh, this is what I think is gonna happen. I don't care. I'm just reading the book. But again, I don't really care for super already developed romance. So I know that this one's gonna be a little bit spicier. It is what it is. Like I said, we'll see what happens with that. And yeah, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna read. I'm just getting ready for the day right now, but I've been thinking about it all morning and I have to just say my piece with this. This might be an absolutely insane take given the fact that I normally am 100% just always in favor of the romance going towards the first person that they were interested in. This book is a little bit different. This one's swaying me a little bit differently. I want so badly for her to end up with Rhysand. I don't know why. Something about the way that they are like bonded together, I guess. And so they hear things from each other, they feel things from each other. And I think that that is so interesting. I think that that gives them more compatibility. Not even just that they have that, but the fact that he's willing to, you know, rip her away from her marriage, not marriage, but like her wedding and stuff to save her whenever she's begging to be saved. Like, that's just That's crazy, okay? That's insane. I feel like he's really trying to help her and that he really cares about her. Whether or not it's actually true, I don't know, but like, hey, that's just the way that I see it as of right now. That's the way it looks to me right now. So unfortunately, even though Tamlin came first, I don't know how I feel about that relationship. Obviously, if that's the way that she wants to go, that's where her heart lies, and go for it, that's great, but I'm holding out. So I had to let you know, just in case if that is something that switches and I need to be like, oh yeah, I kind of guessed that. But that's my opinion, that's my 2 cents, that's what I think needs to happen. Out here in nature, of course, so you know what that means. Reading time. I'm about 30% of the way through right now. Obviously, she was really into Tamlin, whatever, but she left. I was not expecting her to leave, but I think with him locking her in her room and everything like that, I don't say I blame her. I don't think that I'm a Tamlin girly. I don't know if that's wrong or right. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be at this point, but I'm more of a Rhysand girly as of really very beginning of this book. So we'll see if that sticks. We'll see if that continues, but I'm very much eager to read. I got to chapter 60. I'm on chapter 60. I'm almost finished. I think I have like 10% left. I was reading on my Kindle last night, so let's see where I'm at in the actual book. Almost finished. I am very eager to get to the next book. I do hear that the next book is very war heavy, so I feel like that might be a challenge for me to read. I don't know. Sometimes that stuff's easy, sometimes it's not. If it's a lot of heavy and really important information, I have a really difficult time with it in terms of reading quickly. That's why this has been so long for me to get through. Normally I could read it, I don't want to say quickly, but like decently fast. But since there's so much information that I do need, and from what I hear there's a lot of information that you need to carry over to the other series, I'm trying really hard to like pay attention and everything, and that way I can retain it. Am I going to? Probably not, but I'm trying. I'm trying really hard, especially just to retain it all because the 6th book is coming out. I don't want to say soon. It's probably coming out next year at some point, but I do want to be able to get into that, because if I wait for too long, I'm not going to want to pick this series back up at all, because I'm not going to care and I'm not going to remember enough to actually get back into like book 6 of a series. That's where we're at. Very good though. They were mated. Could I have seen that coming? Absolutely. Was I expecting that? Duh. Am I glad that it happened when it happened? I don't know. Obviously I like things to be really drawn out. Like the 1st book, okay? I didn't care for Tamlin and Farah's relationship at all. I just didn't care. There wasn't really any motivating factor for them to be together. I don't know. It was like he was her captor and she fell in love with him from that just because he was nice to her and stuff like that, which is fine. That's great. But it was just so fast. Like, there wasn't really a bond between them, I feel like, to where it was worth her saving them. I mean, it was, obviously, but like, not to the point where it's like, oh yeah, I'm so in love with you that I'm gonna risk my life to save you. Like, I didn't get those vibes personally from their relationship being together, but that's neither here nor there. That's not my business, it's hers. But her being with him, the way that it's been drawn out for like the first couple books, so good. So the fact that they're together now and we're going into a 3rd book and it's bigger than this, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, because again, I didn't really care about Farah's and Tamlin's relationship starting in book 2 because they were already together. I don't really care once they get together that much. So me going into the next book, we'll see how that goes. But other than that, I have couple thoughts. I wrote a couple things down. Thoughts. I don't like Nesta. I think that's her name. I didn't like her since the beginning. I still don't like her. I'm not going to like her probably, so yeah, maybe I'll get over that, maybe I won't, who knows. Chapter 35, that was good. That was what I needed to solidify this thing. I was like, okay, they're so gonna get together. How are they not gonna get together? And here we are, now they are. Oh, and then I wrote this before, obviously I got any farther, but I said they're so gonna get together, how can they not? How can they not? So, I'm not gonna finish this for a little while, but at some point today, this will be finished, and then we will start on book 3. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully it's great, hopefully I enjoy it, even though they're already together. We'll see. We'll see. We have finished her. We have finished, which one's this one? A Court of Mist and Fury. Finished. Done. Ready to go. I'm very excited because this book that I have is a lot floppier. It's definitely going to be a lot more comfy to read. All of the other books in the series that I have are just stiff and hard and not nice at all. And this one, chef's kiss. Ready to get to this one? Okay, look. I say this very kindly, gently, lovingly. Hopefully we know what I mean when I say this, but I'm ready for the series to end. I'm ready for it to be over. I feel like it's just getting a little long for me to read all in one go, which is fine, understandable, whatever. I feel like if I wasn't making a video on this, I would try to read something in between, but I'm not. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm enjoying it, so I'm not worried that there's gonna be a part of me that's gonna slump out. I think with this being more about war, at least for what I know, this is more about war. I think with that I might be a little bit like a little nervous to go into it. I don't know obviously what this is about. All I've heard is that this is pretty war heavy. If it is and there's not really interesting stuff, I feel like I might get a little slumped out. I guess we'll see. I think it's gonna be fine. I'm not really worried. I'm excited. I think that where we ended up on this book with her getting captured, not captured, but like kind of, not really, I don't know, with her being back in the spring court, I'm excited to see how she's going to be playing spy in this book. So that's kind of interesting. I think we left off on this. I think Lucian was kind of onto her, or at least she felt like he was onto her. She said that it seemed like he knew that she was lying, like she was aware of, you know, her deceit. So I'm excited to see if he actually is picking up on that, if he's not going to tell them, whatever, because I know that there was a scene where she was really upset at him for not sticking up for her, for just kind of going along with Tamlin, even though she knew that he didn't agree with it, or like that they were supposed to be friends essentially, and he just kind of blew off the friendship to follow him. So I know she was upset about that. They talked about it, whatever, not like talked about it, but she was like, this is what you did, this sucks, I hate that, I'm over here now. So I think with him knowing that and with him hearing that, I don't think that he's going to be super oblivious to the fact that she's just, you know, hiding there, doesn't actually want to be there, but we'll see. I don't really want to be back with Tamlin, but I think it's going to be nice, the distraction from her and Rhys's romance. I think that having a little break from that, because they just became mates, they are not married now. What is it? She's high court of whatever court that they're in, I can't remember, but she's equal with him now in their court. So I think getting a break from that and not just being consumed by their romance now that they're together, I think that's going to be more interesting, and it's definitely going to keep me hooked, rather than them being together, not only together in relationship, but like together embodied. And I think it looks like I got to the first chapter last night. I think we're gonna end up getting dual POVs, maybe. The last 2 chapters of this book were dual POV, and then this one we have her name. My guess is that it's gonna be both their POVs, and so I'm very excited for that. I love the male POV. So I think that hopefully, if this is dual POV, I think that I'm really gonna enjoy this one. Maybe, I don't wanna say the most. I don't know, I think I'm really gonna enjoy it. But I'm gonna get into this. Again, I've only read the first like prologue or whatever. I'll probably end up going back and rereading this though, because I read this at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And then this is the only chapter I read. So I'll probably go back and I'll just restart it all. But very excited to get into this. I'll let you know what I think of a war heavy book. We'll see, hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. It's gonna be good, obviously, but hopefully I like really enjoy it for what it is. I believe according to my Kindle, I'm about 42% of the way through this book. 42% of the way, and we have not actually hit the war. I was thinking about it, and I think the reason I was thinking that was because this one's ACO war, like the... So I think that that's what I was thinking. I believe that my impressions of it, what I was more thinking was that people say that this is a politic heavy book. That's, I guess, where I was going whenever I was studying war. Obviously, like I said, halfway through and we don't have war yet, so that's clearly my mistake. I think that I was thinking about like politics and war kind of being the same thing, but oh well. It's okay. In this series, I feel like it's been trending theme for me to miss the main big parts of it. Not miss necessarily because I've been reading them, but not fully grasp, or those are the parts that I read whenever I'm trying not to fall asleep. So I think for me, I've been doing myself a disservice. So we keep referring back to what happened at, I don't know what that court is or what the guy's name is, the king, basically, like the main guy that they're going to war against. Whatever happened with him and like the sisters and the cauldron, like all that type of stuff, I don't remember what exactly happened. Like there's no part of me that remembers fully what happened, because all I remember was her being locked up and then the sisters being stuffed in the cauldron, and then they kind of came out of it, and I don't really know what happened to the core of it. They said that Lucien was the one that sold him out, and he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, whatever. So I'm like, I don't even remember that. I knew it was the other girl did, the one that was in the spring court beginning of book 2. The one that she crushed her hand. I can't remember what her name is. It's like Eileen or Eileen, something like that. Maybe, probably not. I don't know. But I know that she was like a heavy reason why the sisters got found out. I guess because she knew about everything. But yeah, I don't remember what happened. So I think me reading this is kind of like all of this stuff is happening from that, or it's, you know, coming down to what happened there, and I just don't remember. So I think that I am going to go back and read that, or at least touch back up on it, so that way I'm fully aware of what happened. Other than that, I am really enjoying this one. I think this one's really good. I don't know if I would say that I like this one better than the second one yet, but I would say so far I think that I'm liking this better than the first one by a lot, so that's good. I'm excited. There's not really been anything notable that I think has happened to my knowledge. I think the sisters are kind of getting on my nerves. I maybe that's terrible of me to say, but I think Nesta being just super standoffish and whatever, that's kind of annoying. Like, I get, you know, you went through stuff, whatever. I was hoping that she would kind of grow and progress and forgive a little bit. It doesn't seem to be happening. We'll see. We'll see what happens throughout the series, if, you know, she's gonna be super involved in it and whatnot. Almost halfway through. Definitely enjoying it. I think that there's maybe one notable thing that happened that I wanted to talk about-ish, but I didn't write it down, so I don't remember. Oh, I really liked her being a spy. Her being a spy was very interesting. Like, her trying to pretend like she fit into the spring court again and that she cared for them and whatnot, while she was really just trying to make a mess of things on the inside. And then the main guy, not main guy, I say that about everybody. What was his name? Like Julian, started with a J. The guy, the ring guy. Yeah. And then like him, I think it was him that kind of figured everything out. He was like, you mean to tell me like you think that I don't know what you're doing, that I'm not well aware of what's going on? Like, you're dumb. I think it's really interesting, everything being put together. I really like the way that everything's done so far. There's not really been anything that I'm like, no, like, why did we have to do that? And I think it all just kind of makes sense, and it's not super aggressive trying to keep up with everything. I feel like, obviously I don't remember 90% of what happens, but hey, that's just my problem. So, enjoying it. I'm excited to get through this one. I'm not over the series, but I'm kind of like, at this point I feel like a 3 series would be great. They finish the war, they're good, you know? So I don't really know what could come after this, especially if the second book or the next book is just going to be like a novella. That's kind of throwing me off a little bit. I mean, maybe if this book kind of extends into the last book or the 5th book, I guess I could still be interested in it, whatever. But like, if this resolves, I think I'm gonna have a hard time continuing it. But again, that's just because it's probably gonna feel like a big epilogue to me, and I don't like epilogues. We know this. Who knows? Obviously, we're gonna figure it out as we go. But I am excited to get through this one. I'm excited to read this book, because this one's the nice floppy book. All the other ones are so stiff and I hate reading them. So I think once I get to that final book that I have, that's gonna be a doozy. That's gonna be a Kindle book. But for now, I'm really enjoying this one. I was nervous. I was very nervous about this one, but I really like it. I'm really enjoying it. I finished A Court of Wings and Ruin. I know I've said this before. I know that I was talking about thinking that it was very war heavy, but it was not. Not at all. I think the last like 200 pages is when the war started. So the rest are just kind of like getting into it and getting ready for it and like preparing and all that stuff. So that definitely was, I guess, a little bit easier for my brain to comprehend than just this massive 700 pages of battle. I think that that would have not been annoying, but you know, I think it would have been kind of not up my alley, but that's okay, because I really enjoyed this one. I like this book a lot. This is top 2, one of my top 2 favorites so far. ACOTAR, the first book, not my favorite, but the second one and then this one, I have a few notes that I wrote down just off the top of my head. We'll kind of go over them super quickly. A lot of my thoughts were with Tamlin, okay? Not gonna lie. Whenever he came to help Feyre the first time, whenever he came and like battled the, I don't remember what they're called, but the people in the king's army, like the animal things. I think they're called adders, but I'm not certain, don't quote me on that. But that definitely threw me for a loop. I was shocked about that. Definitely not what I expected. And then secondly, whenever he helped her save Rhysand, I really wasn't paying attention to what was going on. I knew that like they were giving him their magic or something like that. They were giving him something to continue living. But I didn't really put two and two together that he needed to be there and help. So there was that. But whenever he got there, I was like, there's no way he's not helping her. Like, we're over this, we're past this, he's gonna help. And then also just a lot of the plot twists, not plot twists, but like things that were happening in this book that I wasn't really expecting. I was not expecting Armin. Look, if these names are not right, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. But I was not expecting her to not betray everybody. Like, it's not what she did, but she kind of like didn't tell everybody what was going on and then did her own thing to help everybody. So that, not expecting that, did not prepare for that at all. But that, crazy. The fact that she came back as well, even crazier. Also, the dad coming back, like, there's not a single point in the story where that would have been in my head. I would have not thought about that. I was like, Lucian got him, like, they're good, they're all good because of him. No, it was the dad. The dad, like, was doing all that, and not a hint of me would have thought about that. Like, not even a little bit. So yeah, this one was crazy. The last like 100 pages, I sat outside and I read them yesterday and I was like, man, all of the emotions were just whirling through me. It was intense, but nonetheless, I got through it. I really enjoyed it. This one ended on a good note. There's nothing like cliffhanger or anything to it. So moving into the next two books, that's what scares me a little bit. So far, I started this yesterday and I'm on chapter 3, so I guess I'm on Cassian's point of view. So multiple point of views, which is kind of nice. I think that'll help me get through it. I mean, obviously it's a novella, but I think it's going to be more of a big epilogue, I guess, like a 230 some page epilogue. So that's, but I'm going to get through it. Hopefully it's still good. Hopefully it's not like just something boring that I don't really care about. We will see though. I think if it is though, I think 3 or multiple different point of views, I think that'll definitely help me out with it. We're gonna get through this. I should be able to finish this within a couple days because it's definitely not that long, and then move into the last book. I don't know why, for some reason I'm under the impression that the last book, or at least from this book on, I don't know where I got this. I don't really read any information about this, or I don't like watch videos or anything that pertain to this book series, or really just any series or anything like that that I haven't read. But for some reason I'm under the impression that this, whether it be this book or the next book, just continuing the series post this book, supposedly I feel like it's going to be about Nesta. How I know that or feel like that, I don't know. That's just the way that I think about it in my head. So we'll see if that's right. I don't know. That could be so wrong. But that being said, I still don't care for her character that much. I mean, she has her moments and stuff, but I don't know. I know she needs to figure stuff out, and I'm not like faulting her for that, I guess, but I don't know. I wish she was a little bit more open about things, but that's okay because I don't know what's going on. That's probably the point though, so I'll digress on that. We're gonna get into this. I'm gonna see what I think about it. So far, not bad. Chapter 3. Hopefully we get a lot more POVs. Hopefully it's not just like a couple little POVs here and there of different people. Surprisingly, I finished this book rather easily. This is about how far I was whenever I stopped reading the actual book, and then I went to bed and then I finished the rest of it. I didn't think I was gonna finish this last night, but I did. I pretty much just whizzed through it last night. I expected not to like it going into it, okay? I did not dislike it, but it was just kind of, I guess, getting a little bit of backstory. It wasn't like enough backstory to where I was like, oh, this is super important and necessary. It was just like a little, here's a little bit of information on like all these characters, whatever, and then here's them enjoying their time post-war, which is fine. It's fine, and I get it, and I get what the point of it was, to kind of like not even have like a seamless transition, but just to kind of give you a break from the mass war and like whatever was going on at the end of the third book, and then to propel us into the next book. So I get the separation between the two. We're kind of leaving Feyre's world and then moving over into Nesta's world. I did get like a chapter or two into the next book, so I'm prepped and ready to go. But this, I understand what it's for. I understand that it's kind of like a palate cleanser between the two big realms and what we're learning and what we're, you know, going through with each of the characters and whatnot. Like, I get it. Do I think that this is necessary? No. Can you skip it? Yeah. you can. But am I glad that I read it? Yeah. I mean, I don't think that I would rate it as highly as the other books, but I definitely did not care for it. This one, pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was nice getting to get a little backstory with some of the characters. Was it my favorite? Not really, but that's not to say it wasn't bad by any means. I did like it, and like I said, it was pretty quick, easy to read. I flew through it in a day, so can't complain there. But that being said, we are now moving on to the last and final book that we have. I don't know, this one's just a big one. I think that we're moving away from Farrah's story, moving into Nesta's story, which is great. I'm very excited about that. So we're kind of moving into different romance or different plots, which is good. I don't want to read more about their plot, personally. If it was up to me, and if this was going to continue on with like them, I probably would have just left it a trilogy and been done with it. But moving on to new people, I'm cool with it. Okay, I'm okay. I tried to train the spine to make it a little bit more floppy. It's just not floppy. This is not going to be a very comfortable physical read. Now we're going to Nesta. They just pretty much told her that she was going to be stuck in the castle. She's going to have to train with Cassian whether she wants to or not. They're tired of her. They want her to become part of the family, or at least get out of whatever funk that she's in. They want to help her. She does not want to be helped. She kind of just wants to rot in her apartment, which, fine. By all means, go for it. I am kind of excited. Hopefully she gets out of her shell. Hopefully more character development. Hopefully I have a reason to like her. Her in the third book, whenever she was showing those signs and traits and characteristics of enjoying the other people's company and liking people and wanting to be family with them, nowhere to be found anymore. That was the only part that had me growing any type of connection with her and enjoying her, and then that's gone now, so I just kind of don't really care about her. No offense, Nesta, but clearly she's got a lot of work to do. Gonna get into this one. Like I said, I'm not super far into it by any means, but I am eager to see what happens. And then obviously we still have like the queens and stuff like that, so I'm sure that we're still gonna get big chunks of Farrah, Rhysand, all of the folks, but I think it's gonna be heavily focused on her. But of course we're probably gonna have another war with the queens and all that stuff, because we still haven't figured anything out about that. They're still lurking around somewhere. I don't know what they're doing. If there is anything that was said about that, it's been lost on me. This is the last one. I'm kind of sad. I mean, we are getting that new one here soon, but I'm only gonna start shipping my way through this one. Give you any aggressive thoughts that I have while I'm reading it. I'm nervous. I'm on page 231 right now, chapter 21. I think that this one is going by, I don't want to say slower. It's like the speed, I guess, is fine, but just it's a lot of the same thing going on. Just a lot of training, a lot of the same feelings, emotions, whatever. A lot of Nesta not really wanting to do this stuff. I mean, yeah, she's in the library, she's training, whatever. Like, we're getting to the point where she's actually doing things, but it's really just kind of repetitive. It's all been the same thing for the most part. That's not necessarily my favorite, I guess. Like, I want to see something different. Obviously, like, we've got to get to the point where she's doing what she needs to be doing. She's training, she's getting better, whatever, for us to be able to get to whatever needs to happen at the Queens. Obviously, I have to get through that to get to where I want to be in the book. If that's even part of this book, I don't know. About 30% of the way through, I think, is what my Kindle said. This is the floppiness after training the spine. But I don't foresee myself getting through this anytime soon. I wanted to finish this. I have a date picked out in my calendar of when I wanted this finished by. I don't know what that date is. Do I think that I'm going to be getting to that date? No. At this point, no. So far, it's just kind of repetitive. I don't want to say boring, but boring in the sense of we're kind of starting a new series or a new section of the series. I mean, it's very clear. Right, we're not following Farrah and Rhysand anymore. We're following Cassian and Nesta, so obviously it's a shift in the way that everything is. Shift in just kind of the, not world that we're in, but like atmosphere, I guess. And then also their tension. That's a little aggressive off the start, in my opinion, but hey, it is what it is. So far, I think that this one is going to be the spiciest. That's just my predictions. Nothing really intriguing is happening at this point to where I feel the need to talk to you about it, really. It's just fine. It's good. Like, it's not bad by any means, but I wish it was different. It brings me great pleasure to sit here and let you know that I have officially finished the last book. I officially finished A Court of Silver Flames. That's the correct title. I finished it. I didn't think I was gonna finish this, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, obviously I knew I was gonna finish it, but when I tell you this book took me like 3 weeks to finish, it literally took me like 3 weeks. I'm not even joking, it took me forever to finish this book. I think I got like a quarter of the way through and I was just so over it. I think my problem was that I already didn't care for Nesta going into this. We already knew this. This is not like new information. Realizing that this book was about Nesta was like the biggest punch to the throat I've ever had, because I didn't care about her. There was no point in any of the other books that made me care for her or feel anything for her. She was just kind of there and obnoxious. She was just getting in the way and killing the mood for everybody. Not to be a Nesta hater, but that's just the vibe that I got from her from the beginning. So going into this book and having this fat chunky book being all about her, like I wasn't excited for it. There was not any part of me that was looking forward to it. Once we finished the first 3 books, like the main book, that trilogy, which that can be just a trilogy on its own, wrapped up, it's done. I don't really feel the need to go into more. That's kind of one of those things where it feels like a found family series. Am I even saying that properly? Like one of those series, you know, where it's just 6 books and it's all following a different brother or a different family member, or a different sister, like whatever the case is, and they're all finding love in their book. I don't like those. I just get bored. To me, when the book's finished, I don't need to continue it. So for this to be like a 700-page epilogue in my mind, not really what I wanted to read. Do I think that this book had a lot more depth than I originally thought? Yes, of course. There was so much character development. I mean, 750 pages of character development right here. That's pretty much all it was. This definitely grew on me. I definitely liked it after I got into it, but when I say it took me a long time to get into it, it took me a very, very long time to get into it. There was maybe a few bits and pieces that I would read and I would enjoy, and then I would just get tired of reading it and not want to pick it back up. I was kind of just ready to be over with the series just because I've read the whole thing in line. So I think I was just ready to move on, find something different, cleanse my palate a little, and this was not doing anything to help. Not at all. Also, going into this one, I did expect it to be a big series for Nesta and then a big series for Elaine. That's the way that my head thinks about it, because the first series was like 3 books, then we had the little palette cleanser, then I assumed that we would be getting like another 3, and then palette cleanser possibly, and then another 3 for each sister. This one I think pretty much wrapped it up with the end of Nesta's story. I think at the end she ended up losing most of her abilities, or at least she gave the cauldron back everything that she took from it. So to me that seems like it's pretty wrapped up. Therefore, going into another book, going into the next book, I'm not going to be as hesitant, because I don't feel like it's going to be another continuation of Nesta. I feel like that was kind of closing remarks. We're closing her story, we're done with it, and then we're gonna move on to something different. I didn't want to continue the series being like another 2 books of Nesta's story when I really feel like it's over. That's something that would definitely cause me to not want to finish the series. So I think those are the only 2 things about continuing that I really just was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it while I was reading, but you know, I'm not as worried about that now since this ended the way that it did. But I will say this was a doozy. This was difficult for me to get through. I have heard a lot of people say that this one was really hard for them to get through, and then I also have heard some people saying that the first one was difficult for them to finish. So maybe it's just one person has trouble with this one and then the other person has trouble with the first one. I don't know, but I had trouble with this one. Not the first one, but this one. I do have a couple thoughts that I wrote down on this one. So this is, I guess, before it ended, probably 70 to 80% of the way through. I still was not a fan of Nesta. It really took a long time for her character development to pull through. I will say that. We were like 70-80% of the way through and she was still resorting back to her old ways of like pushing people away, and I was like, are we serious? Like, have we not grown from this? And I did not think that I was going to get any type of redemption from her. I thought that she was just kind of done for, a goner, and it was just that's that. Thankfully, we did not get that. Thankfully, she learned and grew and finally figured out how to you know, be nice to everybody and whatnot. So that was good. I'm glad that she finally received that character redemption that we were so desperately needing from her. So I put that I was impressed with her progress, because I was. It definitely went from a very, very low point to a very good, like, hey, I'm willing to live. I want to live for my friends. I want to, you know, push my friends up with me. Just the whole uplifting mentality that she had towards the end, I was very impressed with, going from where we started to getting to the end. I really enjoyed that. I was a little beefy at first. I did have a little beef with her at first, because I didn't like the fact that she was being lifted up more, I guess, in her powers than Feyre, because obviously this book series to me is Feyre and Rhysand, but like going into this book, it wasn't necessarily about them. So I was a little peeved that they were like, oh, she's so powerful and she can do all this stuff, whatever. And I'm like, but what about Feyre? Like, she's supposed to be the OG, like, cool girl, whatever. And now we're making Nesta the cooler girl. And I was like, especially if she's gonna be all like rude all the time. But obviously we've done away with that. I don't feel as negatively towards that anymore. And then also with her giving everything back to the cauldron and whatnot, she's definitely not gonna be as like that. And also I think with her giving up the ultimate reign of power that she could have chosen with the I don't remember the guy, you know the guy, but the guy that was like, oh, this could be us if you just, you know, go with me. And she's like, no, kill you, whatever. I think having her give that up and then also give up all of her powers and stuff, it definitely showed a lot of growth. You know, she wasn't just going to use her powers for anything that wasn't, you know, for the greater good of her family. So that I was fine with at the end. But I will admit I did have that feeling at one point while reading the book, so I'm just gonna put that out there. Another thing that I heavily wanted to mention, which we all know, we've read the series at this point. You probably are not watching. If you have not read the series, hopefully not, because spoiling away, unless if you just don't want to. This book was so spice heavy. Like, so spice heavy. And I looked at some chart or whatever, and it was like all the spice scenes in this book, which yeah, it was like a lot more. But I could have sworn it was like every other chapter, not every other chapter, but every few chapters there was some type of spice scene in it, and I don't like that. I wanted the chemistry. I feel like chemistry for them, like a good slow burn would have been nice. Obviously we did get slow burn with them, like, hey, we're fake doing whatever, no strings attached, but like they kissed on like the first couple chapters, I feel like. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like it really was not that far into the book whenever they kissed. And then they started getting spicy and whatnot within the first like 10 chapters, maybe. That's me just pulling that out of thin air. But it was very early on in the book that they started doing stuff. And then it just continued on for the rest of the book. So that, again, people love that. Some people are here for that, and that's fine, whatever. But for me, I don't feel like they had a lot of chemistry leading in to the spice, and that's what I like. I like to build the chemistry really thick and then get to whatever, if we're gonna do that, rather than them like building chemistry through spicy scenes. I don't know if that even makes sense, but I just feel like they didn't have much chemistry before. I mean, they had like little draws towards each other, but it wasn't like, oh, we've built this connection, I want to pursue this farther. It was instead, let's see what happens and just no strings attached, and it's just not a big deal. And then that caused so many more issues. I get it's differing from like the first part of the series, like trying to differentiate the two different relationships and two different types of people and whatnot. I get it, it's fine. I'm not like actually mad about it, but I would have liked to see more chemistry leading up to that versus the other way around. But hey, I mean, in Pure Nesta, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I'm not even gonna try it. But in Pure Nesta fashion, and especially with the way that she was starting in the beginning of this book, it makes sense. So I'm not mad about it. It makes sense, I get it, I understand, but I do wish that there was less spice. For me personally. And then the only other thing that I really just noticed was that there was so much filler. Not filler, I guess. It was all very intentionally written, I feel like. But there was just so much of her learning how to fight and just, you know, doing things in the library. I get why it was there. It all comes together in the end. It all makes sense. And especially if this is her only book that she gets in the series, I understand why it's big. I understand why it feels like there's a lot of tedious scenes, but it's all just, you know, working its way up to the very end to where you can actually see her growth. I get it, but 700 pages. 750. Just felt like a lot sometimes. It just felt like sometimes we were doing the same thing over and over. I feel like it could have been just shortened down just a little bit. It felt repetitive at sometimes, which is why I struggled getting through it. But I think all in all, I don't mind it. I'm not mad at anything that was in this book. I don't think that there was any part of it that just drove me nuts. It wasn't like I was gonna DNF it. I was going to finish it. It just took me so long. It took me such a long time. All that being said, we have this question that is on the back of our minds. At least it was on the back of my mind going into the series for a long time, because we just found out that she is writing the 6th ACOTAR book. So the next one's coming. It's on its way. So am I going to be continuing the series? I have thought long and hard about this, reading the whole entire thing. I think once I got to this book, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna continue the series. This was a big commitment for me as an epilogue in my eyes. So for me to go on to another book, which I assumed which would have been another book about Nesta, of course, before finishing it. So me thinking about finishing it, thinking about continuing the series was kind of a no for a very long time. Not gonna lie. I didn't think that I was gonna pick it back up. I didn't think that I was really gonna have any interest in continuing it post Feyre's journey. Upon finishing this book though, and realizing that maybe Nesta's story is over, I think that I will continue the series. I think I will get the next book. I'm definitely not gonna buy it in hardback, let me tell you that. Not gonna get it physically until it comes out in paperback, which I could sit here and just complain and complain and complain all day long. I'm not going to. I'm gonna save that argument for another day. But I won't be purchasing it right away, but I'll probably get it on my Kindle and I'll probably read it at some point, just depending on when it comes out. I don't know. If it comes out like in the summer, I'm probably not gonna wanna read it in the summer. So it really just depends on when it comes out, and hopefully it comes out soon, so that way I can get into it relatively quickly after I read this one. My only issue is that picking up series after I've read them and after it's been over for a long time, I have a difficult time getting into it because I don't remember what happened. So like me waiting, we'll say a year, for the next book, I don't know how I'm gonna feel jumping back into it when I don't really have a fresh brain. Who knows though. But as far as continuing the series, I think that I am gonna do that. And then for what books I want to read after this, I don't know. Like in terms of the Sarah J Maas universe, I don't know what I want to do. I've heard some people say that you need to read Crescent City next because it kind of has direct correlations with what happens in this book. Am I gonna do that? I don't know, because it's another unfinished series. I don't know what I'm gonna do. In terms of that, I think I'll probably end up going into Throne of Glass because it is finished, and then read Crescent City after. I can always go back and reread these if I want to, because let's be real, I think at some point I might do that. I could see that happening. So now, one of the most exciting, interesting parts for me to go over my full thoughts and opinions on the series as a whole, and then my favorite books in the series, my least favorite books in the series, just my opinions as a whole on the whole overall 5 books that I just read that took me like freaking 2 or 3 months to get through. I think as a whole, I think this is a 5-star series. I think that I will be thinking about this very frequently. I think that as the years go by, there will be a piece of me that still remembers reading this and really enjoying this, and just kind of the feelings I got with it, which is nice. I'm glad that I have a little series that I like a lot. I think that this would be fun to go back and reread and pick up on little Easter eggs, I guess. I feel like, are there Easter eggs in this series? There probably are. I just am really bad at paying attention to books while I'm reading them, so that's my fault. I'm thoroughly pleased with the outcome of these books. I really like the series as a whole. I like the way it went. I think I didn't expect a lot of things to happen, but the way that they happened, I was pleased. Very pleased. So this book, a lot of people, like I said, have trouble reading this one. I liked this one a lot. I liked the concept of being in the underground and her fighting for her love. That was cool, right? I liked it. I thought that was very interesting. Her trying to beat the lady, I don't remember her name, and then just kind of like break the curse for everybody and then help get everybody out from underneath the mountain. I thought that was very interesting. Did I like Tamlin? No, not really. Okay, he was the love interest in this book, so I liked him. He was fine. But in my heart of hearts, I did not care for him that much, so I didn't like this book as much because I didn't really feel a super big connection between the two of them. It was just the connection of the book, and so I was like, okay, you know, I'm obviously rooting for them because they're the couple in the book, but did I really care for him? Not that much, not a lot. Once Rhysand became like such a heavy part in this book, I kind of figured that there was gonna be more to the story with him in it, and I was very excited to explore that part. I wanted to see that part more, and so me longing for that more than her with Tamlin, I definitely was like, I don't really care for him that much. I want her to be with this other guy. But like, I don't know, that like she's literally out here fighting for him, right? So like, if she can't be with him, or like she doesn't want to be with him, or it ends up being with some other guy, like I don't know. I'm usually the one to root for the first guy that she is into, right? Like that's how I am. I don't know why, it is what it is. The first love interest that we have, I'm usually rooting for them, and then if there is a second one that comes along, even if they are better, I have a really hard time like jumping ship, okay? But like, I did not give a crap jumping ship for Tamlin. I wanted to jump ship before the ship was even in sight. Like I wanted to be off the ship. I'm sorry, I did. So that was kind of a fun little roller coaster of emotions. Me like not really caring for the main love interest that much, me wanting a different love interest. So I liked that. That was fun, but like I didn't want to be with him. So that was that, and then we finally got into her being with Rhysand. Him sweeping her away, sweeping her off her feet at her wedding. And then we got to experience them together, see them develop their feelings, all that type of stuff. That was chef's kiss. Then we got into the third book. We all know the, not issues, but the fear that I had with going into this one. I was kind of nervous. I thought it was going to be very, very, very war heavy. Again, I've heard a lot of people talk about the politics of this book. Dude, this book I really liked. I've heard some people say that they didn't like this book or that it put them in a slump. Nope, I loved it. I loved this book. This one was so good. Also, with her going back and invading the Spring Court and pretending like she... Whew. My goodness. This one, I'll be honest, I don't really remember much about it. I do know that I read this in like 2 days, something like that. I read this in a very short period of time. It was pretty much what everybody says is just a Christmas special. So, I don't know, not bad. I definitely thought it was good. Again, it was like an epilogue. So I think reading this one and then going into this one is like 2 epilogues kind of was a little bit much. That's what put me in a slump, kind of, a little slump. But I still liked it, I still enjoyed it. I wouldn't skip it. I wouldn't say you should skip it. I guess you can if you really want to, but I wouldn't. I feel like this one had a lot to do with Nesta and her first issues with being, you know, Maid of the Cauldron and stuff like that. I think that this is where it kind of all started, her, you know, issues, whatever. And then from this book went into like really deep diving into those issues. So I wouldn't skip this one if I were you, but I mean, if you really want to, go for it. So I would say my order ranking, I'll go ahead and just give my ratings for these. I've tried to think of ratings and I don't know. And I also don't do half stars, so that's a big one for me. So I would say at least these 3. I would give these 3 5 stars, but obviously these 2, I don't have a favorite between these 2, but these 2 are definitely my favorite of the 3. And then I would say for these 2, I'd probably give them a 4 star. They were not as good, not as impactful for me, but I still did really like them. And I think overall, as a whole series, I would, if I was rereading the series again, I would go back and I would reread Nesta's story. I would do it. But as a whole, I definitely would give this a 5-star series. I definitely would be rereading this again. I definitely will be continuing the series now. I will let you know if I ever decide not to continue the series or anything like that. But as of right now, we'll be pushing forward and finishing them and letting you know what all I think. But yeah, I finished it. This has been on my bookshelf for a very long time, and I didn't expect to get through them this year. I will be honest, I didn't think that I was gonna read them this year. And then I got really annoyed because I was like, of course she's coming out with the next book as soon as I start reading the series, and I'm gonna have to wait for the next one. But that's okay, it is what it is. I'm not mad about it. I'll have to wait for the book to come out on Libby anyways, so there's that. We're finished. I finished it. I finished the series. It took me forever, but I finished it. So, yeah, now I feel like I have a little hole in my life. I don't know what to pick up next, like at all. I feel like you're probably here because you have read the series as well, because again, this is full spoiler if you didn't know that by now. Full spoiler, sorry. I feel like you've probably read these books as well, so let me know what your thoughts were. Let me know which one of these books was your favorite. Let me know which one was your least favorite. Let me know if you had similar opinions, differing opinions, or if you have any like really intense theories of your own that didn't get proved or disproved in the book. Those are always interesting, and then I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I didn't pick that up at all. So I think that's always fun. But yeah, let me know what you thought of the series. Let me know if you agree, disagree with any of my opinions, but be nice about it, please. Definitely a doozy to get through, but I did. I'm excited for the next one. But as always, I appreciate you being here, and hopefully I will get to see you in the next one. See ya.